delete all this. We're recording.
Sweet.
Coach Nads. Hey, everyone. How you doing? How you doing?
It's two of us.
Yep. Here we go. View request. Where is she?
There she is.
Hi.
How
How are
you
you
doing?
guys? Good. How are you?
I didn't realize you were taking this call from prison.
Yeah, it's my prison house. I'm quarantined in here. I'm not coming out until the 16th lockdown.
The little 6x9 brick room.
There,
Now
I put a frame in. Is that
now we
better?
can see now we can see the artwork. First was like, oh, it's just a painted brick wall. Okay, good.
First and most importantly, how do we feel about the horseshoe mustache?
Sexy.
It's coming. It's coming.
Mine's gonna be in.
Does it bring you good luck?
Shockingly, no. No,
Well,
it brings me many accusations and scornful looks.
All right. We should jump into it.
I think so.
Yeah,
okay. That's 2 minutes. 2 minutes of other people's lives they're not getting back.
Good times. All right, welcome to We Are Start Talking Live. I am here. I'm Gareth, for everyone that doesn't know that already. This is Cole, my co-host for the show. We're trying a slightly different format, starting today. So we have our first guest for this platform on, and we have Nadia Vandal on the show. How are you?
I'm good. I just had my cheat meal, my last one, so I'm really good.
Amazing. What did you have?
I had chicken waffles.
Yes.
So I might either get really giggly or I might fall asleep in the middle of this. So I don't know which way it's gonna go.
We'll endeavour to keep you awake. Listen, before we get into the show and start on the topic of just do the work, we have just a quick announcement that we're going to make. So I'm just going to hand it over to Carl to make that announcement.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about this over the past couple of weeks, and Nadia has been a great supporter, following all of our socials. As many of you know, the entire We As family has partnered with Movember Canada. For those of you that don't know, which if you live under a rock, I don't normally grow this mustache just for shits and giggles. So Movember is the leading global charity. It's dedicated to literally changing the face of men, myself included, and Gareth soon. Really focuses on men's mental health, prostate cancer research and funding, testicular cancer research and funding. They really work their asses off on delivering, real innovative breakthrough research to support programs basically that enable men to live their best lives possible, happier, healthier versions of themselves. They're committed to disrupting status quo. And I think that's really important because a lot of the research that's rooted in men's mental health and cancer research tends to get very siloed and very sort of bound by guardrails. So they try and disrupt that status quo. They've got about 300 different initiatives just in Canada alone. In addition to facing key health issues faced by men, Movember really encourages, and this is the platform, and thank you, Nadia, for joining us tonight. This is the platform that Gareth and I and Scott, who couldn't be present tonight, this is what we've built, is the whole philosophy of start talking. So they really focus on men trying to stay healthy through being socially connected and through communicating. And that's really critical. And if you want to learn more, you can go to Movember.com. You can also check out the We As Start Talking Movember page. If you can donate a cup of coffee, whatever that would be, don't donate a cup of coffee. Donate the dollar value of a cup of coffee. I don't need more coffee, neither does Movember. But on that note, as Gareth said, we're going to talk about just do the work. And when Gareth and I were talking about this new format, so instead of being every 2 weeks, we're going to go monthly. And the first concept we came up with was just do the work. And we both sort of rattled our heads together and we thought, what better person than Nadia, somebody that through your discipline, through your work ethic, through your commitment to your competition and your physique, what better person there was to have as our inaugural guest on this new format, somebody that embodies just doing the work than you. So thank you so much for joining us tonight
Well,
from the
thank
prison
you for
cell.
having me. Thank you. I mean, I'm honored that you guys think of me as that person that does the work. I don't even think about it myself. Like you said, I just do it. So, thank you very much for having me on. I feel very honored.
Well, we feel honored.
Yep, absolutely.
So we have about 500 questions,
Perfect. I'll try to answer them all.
but we have about 40 minutes. So
Wow, we'll go fast
we'll
now.
take, name your sex tape. Sorry, that's a Brooklyn, shout out to Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Good start.
Yeah, great start. And oh wait, Nadia disconnected. Where did she go? So I'm gonna start with my first question, and then you know, I know Gareth's got a lot of stuff that he wants to know. So I said this. We just had an amazing dinner together, and we talked about some prep work for this show. And one of my first questions is, because Gareth is one of my closest friends. He's the host of We as Difference Makers. I've gotten to know him over the years. And one of the things that I know to be true about Gareth is his work ethic, his discipline is deeply rooted in the opposite of what he once was. So he once didn't have a great work ethic, and he once wasn't very disciplined. So for someone, it's true, youngster Gareth, for someone like you to reach the pinnacle of your career, is this because you were always this way? Or is there a chapter of Nadia's life where you were very undisciplined, you had a poor work ethic, you overindulged, you really didn't care about how you felt and how you presented yourself and the story that you told yourself? So is who you are today the opposite of someone that you once were, or is who you are today just another version of a lifetime commitment to being the best version of yourself?
I think unlike Gareth, who was a disaster when he was younger,
See,
I
those aren't
wasn't.
my words.
No, well, I always grew up in a household where everything was very controlled and very disciplined. So at a young age, I was put into ballet school, and ballet kind of taught me that type of discipline and hard work. I just grew up with it. I never thought about it as, oh, this is very disciplined, very controlled. It's just something that I enjoyed. And it's also something that is familiar to me. So I've always needed the structure to be able to thrive. If I'm not structured, if I can't not have a schedule, that messes me up more than anything else. So, um, yeah, being in that environment where someone kind of tells me what to do, and be better is just something that to me is something that I need in my life. But don't get me wrong, I mean, there's times where, and Garrett knows this because he's attended many of my house parties. So
Oh,
I can be two ways as well. I know how to relax. I know how to be kind of free, and let go when it's time to. But I do need that discipline and that structure in my life to be able to thrive for sure.
so would you say that the discipline, like you almost, and this is probably two questions, but you're almost hardwired for the discipline that most people are, let's be quite honest, probably incapable of finding in order to, compete as a bodybuilder, to do many of the things that you've done. Um, so do you feel like you are did it put you in at an advantage for your current kind of trajectory?
I don't know if it's an advantage. I feel like I've always liked to, this is going to be weird, but I like to suffer. I like things that are hard to achieve. Just because the way I grew up again, like everything was very disciplined. I had like my mom was pretty like tough with me, like tough love type of thing. So I think this is in a way a comfort to me. I need that. So yeah, in a way, misery is kind of a comforting thing. It's really weird to say. I don't know if it's putting me at an advantage because of that. it comes with a price also. I don't have that much confidence. I've worked on this over the years, but I always put myself down. I try not to do this so much now I'm older, and I've realized that I used to sabotage or self-sabotage myself, not thinking that I was ever good enough. So it's very difficult because you want to do well, but you kind of are your own enemy at the same time. So I don't see it as it was what's making me successful, because I feel like I haven't reached success yet. Like, and whenever somebody says, "Oh, it's amazing what you did to me," it's like, no, it's not. I'm not great yet. I'm not like I haven't done what I want to do, or so yeah.
I had about a year ago, I had a guest on the We As Men show who was a pro bodybuilder, a male pro bodybuilder, and he said, I just grinned because he said almost the exact same thing, that he's remarkably hard on himself and very critical and very judgmental. And my question to him, and the show was titled Ronnie, because he talked about some stuff that wasn't real popular to be talked about within his field. So he wanted to remain anonymous. So his name's not Ronnie, but he said one of the weirdest dichotomies is, yet he went up on stage to be judged, to be criticized, to be told that you're great in these areas, but you're lacking in these areas, and we're going to judge you accordingly. So for you to acknowledge that you're always critical, that you always want the hard path, it kind of makes sense that you would put yourself in a situation where you're constantly, after months of preparation, you're constantly exposing yourself to judgment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's not something that it's something that I enjoy, obviously, because I wouldn't do it if I didn't. But it is a hard path, and there are some down moments, and there are a lot of moments where I'm like, what am I doing? This is crazy. But I wouldn't have it any other way. Like during this pandemic, I think working hard at something was that's what's keeping me on a good path of not like falling into depression, or I need that for me to be able to function, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's something that's healthy or unhealthy. To me, it feels healthy because it keeps me reaching goals and attaining things that I wouldn't necessarily do if I didn't have that kind of drive, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it actually comes back to a post I made. I don't know when it was, maybe a week or so ago, and it was just an IGTV video that I posted, and the post was along the lines of the hard things are hard to do, and often when we like the hard work, we choose the hardest things, like competing, being up on stage. Like any of you guys that are listening, if you're listening on the audio version of the podcast, you may not have seen the pictures, but head over to social media and have a look at Nadia's picture that we posted and on her feed, and you'll see what hard work looks like, and you know the discipline, and it's that I almost feel like you seek out the hard things to do, because that's what drives you, the hard work to achieve that, right? Like the bigger the goal, you know, the bigger the success, like the more driven you are to get there. Would you say that's right?
Yeah. Like to me, we have one life. I mean, why not try to be the best that you can be, and whatever that means to you. And people are like, "Oh, you probably think I'm like nothing." I'm like, "No, I never like it doesn't mean that I judge other people. I'm not like whatever your path is whatever your path is." Like sometimes I wish I didn't need to do things like that and just watch TV every night and just call it a day, and that's it, and not have to go to Pickering every day to find a gym and do my Stairmaster and then go back at night to do my program. I mean, I wish I wasn't always like hardwired like this. Like I wish sometimes I could let go a little bit more. But I mean, when I'm in off season, I will go and have drinks or lie on the beach, or like I do things like that as well. I don't always like, but yeah, I'm able to find balance, I think,
Mm.
in a way. It's either like I go really hard and then I just let go for a little bit.
So one of the things that's most talked about on, social media, and there's a number of people that We As follows. One of the concepts that's most talked about on social media is discipline. And there's a few different interpretations, and Gareth and I, we have our own interpretation of what discipline means, which I think we just came up with something last week, which is our new current definition. But Nadia, because it'll change.
Yeah.
Nadia, I'd love, what is discipline? So assume your answer is pointed towards somebody that lacks discipline. What is discipline?
Discipline begins when motivation ends. That's what I would say it is. Motivation, it's easy to be motivated when you see a movie and you're like, oh my God, like I want to be Rambo. I'm old. I want to be Rocky. I want to be this. And then you're ready to go run, and then you're ready to go to the gym every day. You want to train, you want to do this, you're inspired. Sometimes you have friends to go to the gym with, and that's your motivation, or whatever it is that makes you want to do something. But that's not always going to be there, right? So at some point, the motivation starts to fade away. And then that's when discipline comes into place. When you do something that you don't want to do, but you do it anyways, that's discipline. To me, discipline is also tied up with consistency. I mean, I don't want to brush my teeth every day, but hey, if I don't brush my teeth every day, there's consequences, right? I mean, I'm either not going to have any teeth, or no one's going to want to look at my teeth, or whatever. So I do brush my teeth every day. Do you enjoy brushing your teeth every day? No. But you do it. It's something that you do because it's got benefits, right? So it's the same for me going to the gym. I have a goal, and within my big picture, there's micro goals. So every day, I have goals every year, every month, every week, every day. So, and even within my day, I have small goals. Like, otherwise, it's very overwhelming. So,
Yeah.
discipline is achieving all these small goals every day, right? Within that big picture.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that sums it up.
When you
Pretty good.
start, and sorry, I know Gareth, you had another question, but when you
500
start,
questions.
yeah, 500. We're at 494. When you start prep, and
Yeah.
I think it's I saw one of your posts. It's like 120 days or something ridiculous. Your prep is four months.
It's 16 weeks, but it's really always there all year round. Like, you don't ever stop prepping when you do bodybuilding. It's like when you're not prepping, you're building, or there's like, now it's like a cutting phase, or whichever phase it is. There's a more relaxed phase, but yeah, like this, when you start to do the work of like cutting and getting into shape and fixing symmetry, yeah, it's about 16 weeks.
So when you start your prep, and specific to a show, when you start your prep, is it motivation that gets you started, and then is it discipline that keeps you going? Because
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like that first morning at 5 a.m. and I don't know why I've got 5 a.m. Maybe you sleep till noon, but I doubt it.
Sometimes.
But that first, egg white and raw broccoli breakfast you've got to choke down. Is that motivation? And then discipline comes after a number of motivating moments.
Well, what happens is I get sick of eating cheesecake at some point, like, and drinking wine.
How dare
So, so I do look forward to eating egg whites and eating broccoli, not necessarily together, but yeah, I do look forward to eating well. I mean, I love the way I feel. I don't hate eating asparagus and white fish. Yeah, now I do, because I've been eating it every day. You can see my posts are all about, you can see what consistency is, because I post the same freaking meal almost every day on my stories, just to show people how monotonous it can get. But that's what gets you to your goal. But yeah, in the beginning, I'm excited to eat chicken and broccoli. I love it. I think I feel great after eating like chips and drinking ciders on the beach. You feel like crap at some point. I mean, your energy is not there. Now I feel amazing, like a new person, and my skin clears up. I've got energy. I start to lose some weight. So yeah, it's not even motivation. It just feels great. I like it. After that, yeah, discipline kicks in. After a while, then I'm like, okay, well, now it's getting boring, and you don't see results that fast after the first couple of months, when you start to drop off like the 10 pounds that you put on. After that, it's more sculpting, it's more details, and yeah, it gets more boring. And like the last couple, I'll tell you, like during this pandemic, so many times I just wanted to stay in my bed, and it's a battle inside my head. Like it's literally one person here, one person there. No, stay in bed. No, go. Stay in bed. Go. Like it's a battle sometimes. Even today, yesterday was one of the worst days. I think I had to go to Pickering after work. I worked all day and then went to Pickering on the GO train. I knew it was going to thunderstorm. I was going to come back in the pouring rain. I was exhausted, been dieting for almost 12 weeks now. Um, but I started walking to the GO train station. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. I turned around, walked back maybe 10 steps. I'm like, no, what are you doing? You can't do that. Literally did that. I turned around again. I was like, no, you're going. Then I got to the GO train and I saw the train wasn't coming for another 36 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait outside for 36 minutes. I almost left again. And I was like, you made it here. You're here. Don't leave. So anyways, eventually the train came. I got on it. But it was a really, really, really hard internal battle. But these are the talks that you have to have. And sometimes you can lose, and one day you won't do it. One day you'll stay in bed, but that's okay as long as the next day you get back up and you do it. But if you let it go too long, then that's when people start dropping off and they lose it.
I got a real quick question
Yeah.
because I know where you want to go. Is your discipline rooted in working towards being the best version of yourself, or is it rooted in not becoming the worst version of yourself? Because I think discipline, and I'm just going to use the word motivate, whether that's right or wrong, we can motivate ourselves for sort of two different reasons. We can motivate ourselves because we're trying to be the best, or we can motivate ourselves because we know what we are when we are our worst.
I never even thought about it that way. To me, it's always about being the best that I can be. I never thought about, I don't want to be the worst that I can be. No, ever. But I just know that if I let it slip, though, I could become the worst, probably, I'm sure. But I never let it slip that long that I can't get back onto wanting to be the best that I can be.
I'll be honest with you. You know, conversations with people like you, Nadia, they really illustrate to me that I know I talk a lot about. In fact, every single fucking podcast, I talk about being the best version of yourself. And I know the genesis of my best version is probably more weighed towards not becoming the worst version.
Mm.
So it's like I'm drowning and I'm just learning how to tread water a little bit better each day. So I'm never popping out of the water. I'm just not drowning.
Right.
So I'm intrigued with people that actually have a focal point and they identify what the best version of themselves is, and they're working towards it, which it sounds like that's what you're doing
Hmm.
or have been doing for 20 years.
Yeah, I don't know what it is for me. I used to be, I would say negative. I used to say the worst thing, the worst scenario. Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that. I never thought about it being me being at my worst, but I think I was at my worst back then when I was thinking this way. I used to have negative friends too as well, but then eventually I realized that and I surrounded myself with people that were a lot more positive that would not even put up with me being negative. They would just walk, and then I realized these people were going to walk away from me because I'm being such a negative person. And then I was like, and then I felt like
Okay, put that arm down.
or did I?
Hang on. I've got an itch too. There we go.
I can't move. I'm in jail. So yeah, like I think after I got rid of my negativity, the right people started coming around me and I started surrounding myself with people that are very goal focused. Like, and Gareth is one of them. Like I always thought he was a very positive person. And you probably know that of me. Like I think 10 years ago I wasn't the same person that I am now. I used to be a lot more negative. Like I would find the bad in certain situation. And Garrett was always one to be like, no, I see this positive thing. Like whether it was about talking about Good Life, like the company, like I'd be like, well, but Good Life did that. But like, yeah, but they also did that well. And then eventually surrounded with a lot more people that were like Gareth, same type of mind, seeing the negative or the positive and the silver lining in different situations have also helped me, always wanting to be the best of my best version of myself or do better. And I felt like it attracted good things in my life. So I guess that's
Amen.
what's helping me wanting to always be better. And I don't think about going back to where I was once, I guess, once were.
Yeah, that's just so like resonates with me so much, and I totally agree. Like it's all about that. Like you're responsible for the energy you put out in the world and what
Yeah,
you
it
get
comes
back as
back.
a result, right? Like you get that back, and then those people are around you, and the people that we speak a lot about. How do you? We spoke about this on many podcasts and conversations where, how do you kind of cut people off if that's someone you don't want around? And I almost feel like in my world that I don't often have to do that because people just aren't there. They disappear quickly, right? Because I don't want to be around the energy that I have, which is
Yeah.
positive, and vice versa. So
Yeah, they'll
that's what
disappear by themselves, or you'll move away from them, or
Yeah.
yeah, whichever. And like surrounding yourself with people that are better than you also makes me better. And I like doing that every time I see someone that's I think they're very smart or better than me. I want to know more about them. I want to be around them. I want to get to know them. So that's what like some people view people better than them as competition, or and that goes back to bodybuilding. People are like, oh, who was the person that was in first place? I'm like, I don't even know most of the time because I don't worry about who's in my category, who's below me or above me. I look at the next category above, like the Olympia, and that's what I want to be. I want to be whomever won the Olympia. I don't care who's in my class. I don't care if I'm better than them. I want to be better than the best. Like, and I think that's what is keeping me wanting to be better, I guess, if that makes sense.
A lot of sense, and that'll resonate with me for a long time. And when Gareth mentioned that if there's people that aren't part of the surround yourself community, I sort of think of life's a marathon. We all start chapters of our lives together, and we start this marathon, and then over time you just outrun people,
Yeah,
and maybe they outrun us, and it's not being judgmental or defamating in any way. It's just sometimes you just outrun people, and you've got to be able to just say, okay, I'm going to keep going.
right.
You just chill there
Also,
for a bit.
I want to say too that it doesn't mean also that because you have a positive outlook that you always have to be positive. And that's why you surround yourself with people that are also positive. When I find myself slipping, I feel comfortable enough to announce it to the world. Like I know I'm not always positive 24/7. That's not true. If somebody posts on Instagram that they're the best all the time and they're doing amazing all the time, that's bullshit. Nobody always does amazing all the time, and it puts other people down to see that. Sometimes it's very discouraging when you see someone's post and it's always, oh my God, how are they succeeding so much? How are they so good all the time? They always have great energy. They're never depressed. That's not true. Like some days I don't want to get out of bed, but I have the right friends that I know I can call that will bring me back up. And they know I'm not like this every day. They're not gonna be like, oh, this girl is negative. I'm not gonna be her friend. Like they know me well enough to know that I need their support at that time. And that's why when I don't feel right, don't feel good, I don't care. I'll post it on Instagram. That's my life. Like that's my diary pretty much. Just and I like to share with the world that it's okay to not always be your best. And that's what helps you be your best is to fall down sometimes and figure out how the hell you're gonna get up and that makes you stronger, right?
We both took a breath at the same time. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna share. I think with your like the mindset, around your, I guess your emotional health and also your mindset around training, makes me think that like I guess a lot of people. Let me start again. I guess a lot of people see the world of fitness, especially bodybuilding, competing in any show with the insane amount of discipline that you have and many other people that compete with you have. People would see that as a lack of freedom and things they enjoy. So what it makes me think of, and we speak about this all the time, is that in some ways the way you're speaking in regards to emotional health and also physical health is your discipline actually gives you more freedom in your life to have bad days, to have those days where you don't want to get out of bed. to have those days, like you said, where, you know, it might be too much cheesecake, whatever it is it almost gives you that. And this is a mindset that I've been trying to adopt. So it's not so, in my mind, it's not so compulsive in the way I
Right.
live my life, because that discipline and that consistency gives me that freedom to say, hey, I'm going to sit here and eat a massive steak and drink red wine all night, and it's going to be, and I'm going to be
And
okay.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally is okay. And that's what I get a lot of criticism. People will say, "Oh, you're so rigid. Oh, you always have to eat well. You always." I'm like, but like for me, it's not a punishment, and it's okay. Why is it so bad? There's this era now of people talking about intuitive this, intuitive that, and don't force anything. I'm like, but if that works for you, that's great. But discipline and controlling things in my life works for me, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think, and people don't call it a diet, don't call it. I'm like, well, call it whatever you want. I like to eat broccoli and white fish. Like, I mean, I my body is wants to be fueled. My body wants to perform. I like being able to perform. I like getting up with energy. These are the things I like. I also like cheesecake, but I mean, you just gotta weigh the pros and cons according to what your goals are, and like. And just bring it back to like everyday life. Now I'm benefiting from it because when it comes to viruses, like, and I hear there's one going around these days. Uh, I
Wait,
mean,
what? What?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You're
Maybe
fine.
I dreamt that. But when it comes to these things, hey, I'm not fearful. I mean, God forbid, like it could happen to any one of us, but I feel equipped that I've taken care of my life day after day, eating the right things, exercising, preaching what I do. That's my job. I quit a job that was stressing me out, where I didn't eat well, I was gaining weight. I was negative towards it, didn't like it. So I quit that job, became a personal trainer, and that's what my job is, prevention and making people healthy. So I live that life and I enjoy it. I embrace it. I don't see it as a punishment. I see it as it has many benefits and it's making me happy.
Yeah.
So,
Is every part of your life, so for the first half hour of this conversation, we've talked a lot about nutrition and physical fitness, but is every part of your life as measured as your nutrition and your workouts are?
no. You should see me in the morning. I'm a disaster because I want to sleep as long as I can. I have like, if I have a client at 7 o'clock in the morning, I will arrive there at 7 o'clock in the morning, like not a minute before. And then I will be freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, I didn't do this. I didn't cook my eggs. I have to cook I'm like, I'm a disaster. I'm running for the streetcar. I'm literally like sprinting to catch the bus, so just to make sure I make it on time. Like it's insane. So no.
So, I mean, how do we talk about, just do the work, and perhaps there's something really remarkable about you that certain categories of your life you're prepared to just do the work, and then other categories of your life it
I
sounds
let
like
go.
you're human,
Yeah,
right? Like
totally. Oh yeah.
you're flawed and you're not perfect and you're undisciplined. So how do you prevent the girl that's running down to catch the streetcar and walks through the door with 30 seconds to spare? How do you prevent the two versions of you, the ultimate just do the work, hyper disciplined, and quite frankly, Nadia, the human being, the normal, I'm doing air quotes right now to the listeners around the world. How do you prevent one infecting the other?
I guess it's pretty crazy in my head. Like it's always like a debate. Like I debate with myself all the time. It's like there's like Biden on one side and Trump on the other side. And they're like talking to each other the
Oh,
whole
shit.
day.
There we go.
There's an election too, I think, coming up.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it's a constant debate. I mean, I'm nowhere near perfect. Like I'm dealing with a lot of like um things that I've been working on, growing. I've had a difficult childhood, and I've had to deal with that for years. Now that I'm in my 40s, I'm coming to terms with it. I've read books, like a lot of people, like we've all done some work on ourselves to be better. And but there's still parts of me that are like like the sometimes low self-esteem or disorganization. If something is not a priority to me, it'll be disorganized. But working out and doing well in that area or my job professionally, I'm very, I don't like using the word type A because what does that mean? But I'm very organized. I prioritize when it's something that's very important to me. But if it's not as important, then this is where it could fall apart because I don't really care that much. So
Go ahead,
I
buddy.
was just going to say, do you find that in the areas of your life where you are super disciplined, and this is something that I need the answer for, do you find the areas where you're so super disciplined, you're organized, you're structured, like workouts, meals, your work schedule, and I can absolutely confirm that organizing a schedule as a personal trainer or any fitness professional is like a massive task, right? It's tricky. You're dealing with everyone else's schedules.
yeah.
You're so competent in those areas of life. Do you find that, obviously you said the other things aren't a priority, so do you find that they just completely fall off, or is the work that you do in the other areas, does that slowly bring up the other parts of your life where maybe there's not as much structure and discipline, or does it create more of a divide?
I think so. Like, I mean, I don't have that much going on outside anyways of what what I'm doing. So my job and like training all goes together. Like training clients, organizing schedules, my schedule is very tight because a lot of it is like, well, right now I'm traveling to a gym in Pickering. I have posing with my coach in Hamilton. Then I have to go and see people everywhere right now, or then I'll be having an online something going on. Like there's always some, so I have to be very particular, and that's most of my life. What I'm not disciplined in, I'll tell you that, is sleeping. I don't sleep, so something has to give because I like to be perfect. I like to train 3 times a day if I can. I'll do posing, I'll do
Me too.
cardio, I'll do, and then I'll sleep 3 hours. That's my average is 3 or 4 hours a night. And I don't advise it, but like I mean it works for me. Like I don't get sick. I don't like I'm pretty generally in a good mood. I have the ability and the capacity to not have to sleep a lot. I drink a lot of coffee too. like like
Yep.
I know some of you do in this crowd. But yeah, like it's been working for me. I can't sleep. Like today, I could have slept longer. I'm lying there. My eyes are open after 4 hours. Like I can't sleep. So I guess it's a good thing for me. I just always operate without sleep.
So the name of this show is Just Do the Work. And let's assume, as shocking as this may be, let's assume that there are literally billions of people out there that don't know how to do the work. So if you can, try and make your answer not about bodybuilding and perfecting whatever that means, a physique to be judged on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about the philosophy of just do the work, how does somebody, when they start their day, what are some lessons that you've learned throughout your career that could transcend any, whether it's somebody trying to be a better dad, somebody that's trying to communicate more on a deeper level in a relationship, a better parent, somebody that maybe they just want their own self-worth to increase. All of those things take work. And we're talking about, our conversation with you is deeply rooted in the physicality of just doing the work because you're a bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
But my guess is you've got some wisdom that a lot of people could benefit from in some philosophies that you've taught yourself over the years. How can people just do the work in whatever their path is to becoming the best version of themselves?
To me, what's worked the best is micro goals. Everybody gets overwhelmed with one big goal and then they can't do the work because think about it. If your goal is to become the president of the United States, like how are you going to do this? Like if you don't have that split up in smaller goals and smaller goals that you can achieve every day. And that's where consistency comes. If every day I've separated I always take my big goal, my big picture and separate it in months. Like what do I want to achieve from this month to that month? Like if say my goal takes a year to achieve or whatever. So I need a time frame. For me, time frame is what helps. And then I will divide this in 12 goals. And then those 12 goals, I'll divide them in weeks. And then these weeks, I'll divide in days. And then these days, I have to schedule everything that is important to you, schedule it. If it's not there, it doesn't exist. So that's how I do the work. If I didn't put that I have training in Pickering tomorrow, chances are, oh, well, I'll put something else in that time slot, right? It's not there. It doesn't exist. So micro goals and your big goal.
And Nadia, sorry to interrupt. How micro do you go? Do you go hourly?
Yeah, pretty much hourly. Yeah. I schedule my clients on my
That's a hell of a
priority.
spreadsheet.
Usually, like I will slot in all my clients. It's my job. That's what pays my rent or whatever. I'll put that in. And then after that, my training is that's part of my goal. I'll put my training in. What am I working at? I'll go back to bodybuilding for that one. But in the week, I have to work my legs. I have to work my back. I have to work my shoulders. I have to work my arms. I put all these in. Then I have to do posing. Posing, I'll put them another slot where I need it. I need to do my cardio. And then I organize my meals. And then if that's overwhelming, it was overwhelming for me. I couldn't do it. I didn't feel like cooking. I called a prep company. I had the luxury to do it. It actually cost me less money because there's less waste. It's made for me. It was a good solution. I don't even have to make that decision. The less decisions you have to make, the more successful you're going to be. I don't have to think about my meals now. They're prepped. They're ready to go. I open the freezer. When I decide if it's broccoli or asparagus that day, that's an easy decision. I don't have like a bunch of stuff in my fridge that's going to influence my decisions, right? So all these types of things are what make you more successful. And have support as well. For me, I need support sometimes. Most of the time, I'm pretty independent. I can do my own thing I don't need somebody to go to the gym with me, but I do have strong allies. Like my coach, Kashif. To me, he's not. You can have a coach that teaches how to exercise anywhere. You can find anybody to teach you how to do a pull down. But Kashif is more than that. He teaches me more like a way of life, how to deal with problems, find a solution for your problems. How can you find a solution? Like he's taught me a lot of things that help me towards my goals. So have support people that are good in your life that will help you when you fall. That's also another good. It's a thing that I learned over the years. Have good allies.
So micro goals, surround yourself, support.
And
it
talk to
sounds
yourself.
like another big piece of the equation for you. And you related it to food choices, to nutrition choices. But I think in life, there's an interesting, much more macro metaphor is limit the number of choices you have to make so that you can sort of free up your own emotional or intellectual horsepower to make better choices. So, don't think about this toxic relationship or this toxic job, or, don't think about all of the things that may be holding you back. Instead, limit those negative choices and just focus on, it's funny because Gareth, you and I talk a lot about be the best version of yourself, but after talking to Nadia, maybe what it maybe is more about is just be a better version of yourself. Yeah. Day by day by day, choice by choice.
And that goes to
micro level.
And it ties up into happiness. Everybody has this goal of being happy. I'm like, well, why not being happy in moments? Happiness is not a goal. Happiness is like, it's the same as the weather. Sometimes it's sunny, but sometimes it's raining, but the sun will come back. So happiness is temporary to me. Some days, hey, something's really happy. And then if we were happy all the time, we wouldn't appreciate it. We wouldn't be happy because we wouldn't know what happy is. Now you know what happy is because you're sad, right? So having a goal of being happy all the time is not realistic. It's the same as having a big goal. Me wanting to be a champion on the Olympia stage is a big goal, but why not have small victories within that make you happy? I think that is a better approach to life than just having this one unrealistic, huge goal that you don't even know how to go about, or what even, how is that going to make you fulfilled? Like,
yeah. And I think as well, like something else that stuck out for me, one other point that I really want to make is that in that process of those micro goals, of all those things we spoke about, you also touched on how you got a meal prep company, you have a coach. So I think the other real key takeaway, and the biggest thing for me today, is that you have to outsource some of those things. We can't be the top performer in every single piece of our life without support and help. Sometimes you need to hire a coach. Sometimes you need to get a meal prep company to help you. Sometimes you need someone to do your cleaning or your laundry or whatever the hell it is. You have to be aware enough that you have to outsource those things. Big hurdle of mine in my life. So it's something that just stuck out as a huge point for me.
It's true. And like not everybody will play the same role. Like depending on how I feel, I'll reach out to certain people. I have a big bank of resource of like, and when I say bank of resource, I'm talking people. There are people I'll go to when I need to laugh. Like, hey, sometimes like I just call up Simon. It makes me laugh. I forget about everything. I'm happy. I forgot about my misery. Sometimes I need a deep conversation, so I'll call someone else. Sometimes I just need somebody to like see outside my perception and give me what they see. So having people, and I always have these talks with people that they want a car, they want a vacation, they want a family. I don't give a fuck about any of that. Like, did I say family? Not family. like material stuff. Like, I'm like, you're not gonna go. You're not gonna die with your car. You're not gonna die with your things, your Louis Vuitton purse. Like that tells me that you're not fulfilled. If that's all you dream about is to buy like a Louis Vuitton purse, like think about things that will make you happier. And I'd rather spend money on an experience, like going out with friends, having a good conversation, than just buying something that will be good for 5 minutes.
I want to ask one last question, because I want to respect your time, and as you know, Instagram Live has a time limit.
No,
I want to ask one last question, and if you can't answer this, I respect it. But I have this feeling, and maybe this is the podcaster coming out in me, because Gareth and I, when we do these Instagram Lives, they become a little less sort of 3-hour conversations and more trying to pack a lot of information into a short period of time. So I can't wait to have you on one of our podcasts to really explore all the different sort of characteristics of who you are. But it feels to me like you've dedicated your life to something that is the hardest, most judgmental thing. Like you haven't dedicated your life to becoming a fucking librarian or, like a burger flipper.
But if I was, I'd be the best burger flipper in the world.
But this is my point, is that the best burger flipper in the world is probably undisputably the best burger flipper. You can't judge that, but it's you've created a life for yourself where you will always be judged. You will always be, you alluded a bit ago about your mother, and very very disciplined, very hard on you, and you do the hard things in your life. So you've chosen a passion that will always be the hardest thing in your life. And I guess I wonder, can you function? And this is the question: can you function? So when your career, knock on wood, when your career comes to an end, how do you then find the new hardest thing in your life?
Something will come. I'm never worried about that far ahead. Like before I was a ballet dancer, that was the hardest thing in the world. Like I went to the National Ballet School, and I swear to God I could go in the army for 5 years after that. It was harder than bodybuilding. I mean, I didn't want to get out of bed. I was like, I don't want tomorrow to come. It was that hard. I've had like those Russian teachers that were like, like, turn your head. If you don't turn your head, they'll break it. And then that was my thing back then. I loved it. I liked that it was hard. Like some days I didn't want to go, but I liked that I was going to get better at it. I was the worst one too. I was the weakest student at the National Ballet School when I was there, but I was like, I promise I'll do my best. Like I begged them to take me when I went to summer school for the audition. But then after that, I got an injury, and then I went to work at the bank. Like I started from the bottom as a teller, became I was like, okay, I'm gonna work the steps. So I became an bilingual insurance officer. I can't remember the title that I had. Then
Hang
I
on,
became
hang on.
oh, did I do that again?
Yeah, you did. Hang on, hang on.
I can't stay on the spot.
We're having
Let's have a pose up.
Yeah, no.
No.
To the audio listeners around the world, Nadia and I are in a pose off right now, and it's 100% certain she's winning. So
Hey, winning.
I'm just gonna keep my eyes on the shot.
give me a back spread. No,
No, you go. You and
no,
Gareth.
you don't want to see that.
I think I just wanted to touch on it. It seems like you kind of went through this like upward journey of that hardest thing, like ballet school, coming out of the childhood that was a fight and a challenge, and it was that, you know, that kind of strive almost for perfection, and then ballet school, and I feel like maybe that dip in, you know, let's call it the corporate world for want of a better expression, is almost made you go and search for that next hardest thing, because that maybe was the flat line of those, and I don't know, because I don't know that corporate world, but I think that for that all-round holistic challenge, bodybuilding was something that you just needed to bring you back to those challenges, those hard things.
It doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I'm doing something, I'll find the highest point of it. Like when I became a fitness instructor, I'm like, I want to be like a good fitness instructor, not just an average one. Then I wanted to be, I'm like, I want to be a national trainer. That was my pursuit. And then I was like, okay, this is not going to work out. So now I'm going to get into bodybuilding. I want to be the best bodybuilder. So whenever I get into something, I'll reach for the extreme.
That's mindset, right? So
yeah, it's just what I like to do. I'm like, I want to be the best. I like to push limits, I guess. Like, yeah.
Why don't you look at me like that? You just gave me a shitty look when you said it's the mindset, and then you looked at me. If anybody's got that mindset, it's me. I don't operate in gray. I'm very black or white, and I think I could probably move the meter a bit on my ends of the spectrum, because I think the best version of me is very underachieving. So I've learned a lot from our conversation tonight. For me personally, and that's, to be honest, sorry to everyone listening, that's why I do this, is every single conversation I have is normally they are better than me in several areas, and I learn from that. So that's just me completely selfishly admitting why I'm so enthralled with talking to somebody like you. Gareth, any closing remarks before Instagram cuts us off?
No, just thank you. And I would just recommend that everyone listening, whether it's on IG, whether it's on the audio podcast, like go check out Nadia. We'll put everything in the show notes and our Instagram post, and just go follow, because mindset and, you know, the focus and the dedication is something that, you know, everyone could learn something from. I've been fortunate to have hours and hours of these conversations, and we'll definitely be pimping you out on our podcasts as well.
Oh!
Well, that might cost money.
Having longer conversations in the future. So I just want to thank you for being on. And it's
thanks. It was great to see you guys. And Gareth, we haven't caught up in a long time too, so it's nice to catch up.
Yeah.
I need to know what's going on in your life now.
That'll be next week. And I feel like it was around, what was it, Nadia, November 23rd last year. I tried to come out to your show. Was it around the 23rd of November?
Yeah, I think so. Pretty much the same date as my show in November. 21st, maybe 20. Yeah, around there.
So is your show this year going to be virtual? Are the stands going to be empty?
It's going to be empty. Yeah, we're going to stand there with our masks on.
Easier for you?
Harder, definitely, to not have the support of my friends there. It's going to be definitely different. We got to wear masks, distance. It's not going to be the same atmosphere for sure, but it is what it is. I mean, at least, fingers crossed, it's still going to happen. So that's all I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
But hopefully they'll have a link to the show so people can join. It's going to be streaming live.
Yeah. Well, maybe when we post this on our social, maybe you could comment and put the link to the show in there.
Yeah,
so
once we know. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you so much,
sure.
Nadia.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
And that's it for this week, I guess, or this episode.
Yeah.
Please consider donating to Movember.com. Go check out their website. Start talking. Start talking. We have a Movember page. Check out Nadia's page. What's that?
I'm trying to grow a mustache too.
Well, you got one of these. You know what? I'll try and grow some biceps.
Yeah, flex. Everybody flex.
All right, everyone.
That's it. Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good
Nadia.
night.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.